Welcome everybody to look at a standard Blu-ray release from Vinegar Syndrome via the VSL line, so I think that's Vinegar Syndrome Labs, and it is 1956's Fire Maidens of Outer Space, or From Outer Space, depending on where you're from, as it apparently came under both titles. So this is directed by Roth, who I've not seen anything else from before. The only two other films that he did were war films. I think it's either set during the Korean War or earlier. So yeah, and they don't look particularly great, to be honest. So yeah, this is a science fiction film, clocking in at 80 minutes long, and oh no, 81 minutes, sorry. And yeah, the only person I've seen anything from before in this is Suzanne Shaw, who was in It Always Rains on Sunday, which is a really rather fantastic effort, and she was the leading lady in Pool of London. So an astronaut and crew land on Jupiter's 13th moon and find a monster and women from Atlantis. So to call the production of this science fiction film cheap would do a disservice to those films that are cheaply done. This is due to such aspects as the score being primarily composed of excerpts from the opera Prince Igor by Alexander Borodin, no doubt because it was free to use. The props are entirely unconvincing, be it from a very obvious lever that is used to, power the engines and depower them, which you see several times. Take a shot every time you see those. As well as also an evidently boat steering wheel or something to direct the ship, which really wouldn't work at all. The spaceship in space also looks like a piece of cardboard. The sets look like they were nicked from other films, as we have corridors that look like they're from like a medieval kind of set film. Then the Atlantis elements look like they're set from nicked from like a Roman era kind of film. Then you also have the monster itself, which is so obviously just a man in a mask with some dark clothing on. The spaceship interior is blatantly just some random rooms. They don't look like they've been made to look like a spaceship at all in terms of the dimensions or their interiors. There is plenty of filler. There's several dance scenes, for instance. There's also a scene where you see a secretary walk all the way down the stairs through two gates, pulls up a chair, and then sits down, and then they start talking, which is just entirely unnecessary. It just really does feel like filler. The script is by the numbers, and there isn't always so much in the way of action. That said, this was entertaining to laugh at. Susan Shaw is decent. She seems to be the only one that is really trying. I admire the cast overall for keeping a straight face throughout, due to all of the obviously set limitations and production ineptitude, and it is generally engrossing, and it is at least a relatively short film. So yeah, I can definitely see why this is considered one of the worst films ever made. It might well have even more of a reputation if it was more widely available, although it is thankfully now. But I have a soft spot for it, like a lot of 50 sci-fi films, and it did at least predict the existence of the 13th moon of Jupiter, which actually wasn't discovered until 1974. So yeah, I doubt they actually knew or figured it was there. It's just, they knew there were 12 of them, so they figured, what if there was a 13th that we didn't know about? And turns out there actually is. So yeah, but I do like the artwork with this, which is even better, I think, on the back. But it's really not. It's really, you know, cashing checks that it can't fulfill, quite frankly, because yeah, it's not really all that good at all. It's a 2.5 out of 5. I am being very, very what do you call it? Being very I forget the wording. Just being very sympathetic to it, I guess you could say, in a lot of ways. Again, that poster on the reverse is also doing a lot of legwork because yeah, the monster doesn't look like quite that good. I don't even think he has claws like that, to be honest. So yeah, it's not doing a great deal, to be honest. But still, it's nice to have something like this, quite frankly. So, yeah, it's been newly scanned and rescored in 4K from its 35mm fine grain master. Got commentary track with film historian writers Jonathan Rigby and Kevin Lyons. Commentary track with film writers Chris Shields and Sarah Fensom. One Step Back, Sci-Fi's Regressive Outliers, clocks in at 12 minutes long. A new video essay by Dr. Sabina Stent. Then you got the Fire Maidens, another look at the Starlets, from that clocks in at 7 minutes long. A new video essay by Benjamin Tucker, as there are, more than a dozen Fire Maidens in this. Then you got this reversible sleeve artwork and English subtitles as well. So yeah, it's not great. But if you are into your 50s sci-fi like I am, regardless of how bad they genuinely are. Because I have seen worse than this, I feel. But yeah, I've seen also a lot better as well. But if you go into it knowing that it's got extremely low budget uh, aspirations and doesn't really have much of money behind it, and it's clearly struggling with the idea of it's quite clearly struggling to meet its ambitions, because it is quite an ambitious film, going to Jupiter and stuff like that, and having all of these people and having this out there Atlantis plot, which by the way isn't explained at all. There's no explanation whatsoever about how these people have gotten from the lost continent of Atlantis to Jupiter. It's just something that is apparently has happened. Apparently Atlanteans had space travel all those years ago. So yeah, not particularly great. And if you are expecting a lot of spectacle and violence and action and stuff like that, then you are going to be deeply disappointed. And unless you have a tolerance for long sections of basically talking and not very interesting talking, then yeah, you're going to be bored by it in no time at all. But I do have tolerance for this kind of thing, and yeah, can get enjoyment out of it in spite of and because of its flaws, much in like other films that I've talked about on this channel already. So yeah, decent enough effort in some aspects, but definitely one that is not one that you should rush out and buy. Nonetheless, so if you have seen this film before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.